And welcome once again to 5 Questions with Paulist Fathers. And today, probably for the last time for our guest today from New York City, we're going to go to Father Joe Ciccone, who is about to move to Rome, Italy. Going back to the motherland. You know, my wife called you her paisan, and so
Sí.
So let's get right into it, Father Joe. And Father Joe Ciccone, what's the one thing that you're going to miss about the United States as you head off to Rome?
I think, at least where my mind is right now, the one thing I'm going to miss most is easy access to go and see maybe friends or family. Having lived here in New York, although the past couple of years have been very trying for me,
Sure.
and especially with the COVID situation, I still have been able to get out to New Jersey to visit my family, or into Brooklyn to see an aunt and uncle of mine who are still there. And then I have many other friends that even this past spring into summer, I had wanted to go and visit, and I couldn't. It all got canceled. And I think that's a hard thing, because I wanted to reconnect with so many people. This year also had been the 50th anniversary of my high school graduation.
Wow.
And it was supposed to have been a reunion in April. So a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, we'll come and visit you in Italy as soon as we have a vaccine for the virus." So I think that's what I miss the most, or will miss.
Sure. Speaking of the pandemic, question number 2, what's been your favorite comfort food during the pandemic time?
And I have gained weight because I can't go to the gym. I think my go-to comfort food, this has been terrible. I've gone and bought like tortilla chips and munched on tortilla chips, maybe with some salsa or something. Sometimes having a glass of wine with dinner that maybe I wouldn't have because in our house it's available. I guess those are the big comfort things. Again, with the virus situation, you can't just go and buy an ice cream in places that you would have done since
Right.
The weather got warmer. But I think it's the tortilla chips.
I can remember fighting you for tortilla chips at a Mexican restaurant once. So, Father Joe, you were assigned to St. Paul the Apostle as their pastor, and then you were diagnosed with cancer and had to take a leave. And so, during your recovery, what did you learn most about yourself and God during your recovery from cancer? Question 2.
It's an interesting question. And I read I was hospitalized initially because my cancer was in my hip. And then it got so bad, I couldn't really even use crutches or to walk. So I ended up being hospitalized for 2 weeks, even when I was beginning my chemotherapy. Someone from St. Paul the Apostle, the church here, our mother church, brought me a book written by a Jesuit called Richard Leonard. He lives in Sydney, Australia.
He's a great guy.
Paulist Fr has published him, and I've met him. And that book, it's a tiny little book, but it was kind of like a godsend to me. It spoke to me with my understanding of God, or reminded me of my understanding of God, that we don't believe in a God who does magic. We don't believe in a God who sends bad things to good people. At the same time, we have to find our way, trusting in God and praying that God is going to guide us through this very difficult time. And he begins his book with a very tragic story about his sister, an accident she had. I mean, unbelievable. So that really helped me. And then I began to realize that I needed to completely trust. There wasn't much I can do other than follow doctor's instructions, follow protocols. It was difficult. Interestingly, I never really thought that I was maybe going to die. Maybe I thought about that afterward, after the chemo.
Yeah, right.
Because the chemo really does a number on you. robs you of energy. I still, to this day, deal with a great deal of tiredness that worries me. I don't feel like my old self at all. Some people will say it's part of the aging process. Well,
Right.
who knows? But there's been a marked difference. And so I really have had to learn, look, Lord, I can do this and I can do that, but there's so much else I can't do. So I have to trust in you. I have to trust in a divine presence, or a personal divine presence that loves and cares for me. And to realize what I cannot do or not do any longer. And that's not an easy thing for most American type of folks, right?
Yeah.
We want to be proactive. We want to take charge of things. But when your body and mind, they talk about chemo brain, very, very true. It creates a great challenge. So I've had to learn to trust that God is there for me. One of the things that I also learned was through someone else. I went back to where I had been the director of the St. Thomas More Newman Center in Ohio, like last October. I went out there to preach the Paulist Appeal. And a parishioner came up to me who had been watching my progress and said to me, God's not finished with you yet. Mm. That really stuck in my head. Almost like a prophecy of some sort.
Yeah, right.
Because my body and my spirit were quite feeling that. So I had to hear that as a word to say, maybe God does have something in store for me that I can't see right now, whatever it is. And I can't control what it is.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I've learned.
Cool. So question number 4. You worked in advertising before you were a priest as a Pratt graduate of Pratt Institute, right? And
that's correct. Communication design department.
Yeah, and so what skill from your former advertising career have you used most as a priest?
I think is to try to be a creative thinker. If I want to sum it all up.
Very Paulist. Very, yeah.
Yeah, whether there's a difficult situation or a presentation of faith or something, I try to get, maybe this is, when I was leaving advertising, my big boss, who's Jewish, non-practicing, when I finally announced what I was going to be doing in leaving the ad agency, he said to me, you'll still be in advertising. You're just advertising a different product. And I'm still in touch with him to this day. In fact, I hope to have a Zoom meeting with him and his daughter who lives in LA before I leave. The issue is that I've had to use the creativity to try to let people know about who God is for them and who Jesus is. And I've had to come up with maybe it's more about thinking, where are they? What are they struggling with? Where are they at? Just like you would in coming up with an advertising idea or some kind of promotion. How do you meet those people who you're trying to talk to or target? It's the same kind of a thing. So maybe there is a piece of that.
Preaching from the ad man.
Yeah.
No, I feel the same way about my former radio career. I'm sure Father Dave Dwyer would say the same stuff.
I'm sure he does. Yeah, and you too.
Yeah, it's we're hustlers for Jesus now. And so as you sort of head out to your new assignment at Santa Susanna in Rome, which is the American church in Rome for those folks who don't know.
That's correct. American Catholic community.
Yeah. Question 5, what's the first thing you want to do when you get to Italy?
It's not what I want to do. It's what I have to do. The first thing I have to do when I get there is quarantine.
Oh, right.
For 14 days, which is about 2 weeks.
I'm on one right now. Since I came from another state back to New York, I had a quarantine.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, my Paulist brothers, my colleagues there are saying everything's going to be taken care of. We'll bring you food and all that. I have no idea what the spatial situation will be. Will I feel claustrophobic? Will I be able to open a window to get air? I have no idea. I have some little personal projects I've been working on that I probably can get myself immersed in. But I think, 14 days is a long time, even though I've known some other people who've had to quarantine for so many days.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. And the other thing, I think, I'm looking forward to real Roman Italian food. It's kind of mind-boggling to me that I had never heard of a particular pasta dish in growing up until someone told me about the Roman specialty, which is cacio e pepe, which is a pasta dish that's simply made with pecorino romano cheese and the pasta water, which is starchy, and then ground pepper. That's it. But it somehow creates this kind of velvety sauce or something. So I've never tasted it. And there are other specialties also from Rome that I think I'd be excited about tasting. The big question, of course, again, in this COVID-19 world in which we live, I don't know what's going to be possible, even if I have some time to further explore the city. I was last there in 2015, and I was able to see a lot more of Rome than I had ever done, even in 2 previous visits. That was great. But there's so much more. It's like people who come here to New York City.
Yeah, right.
Most visitors, I think they probably just see the most tiny portion of Manhattan that's possible. And that was another thing I was hoping to be doing before I left, which I couldn't. I couldn't see all the things and do all the things I had wanted. So I don't know what it's going to be like, but I pray that I'll be put in touch with the right people, that I'll be able to connect to those who may be able to show me around. And I would think currently there are not tourists in the city of Rome or in the country of Italy. And maybe it'll be easier to go and see things or get into places or museums, et cetera, et cetera.
You could take Papa Francisco for lunch.
Sure, why not?
Just call him up, invite, So
of course.
how about
He's
this
done
place?
that. He's done that with people, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd have to get an interpreter, though, because I really don't speak Italian. I really don't speak Spanish. I just know little bits and pieces.
Yeah, right.
That's another thing I have to work on.
Yeah, right. You're going to learn quick, right? Yeah. Well, Father Ciccone, this has been such a delight to have you, especially as you head out. So thanks for taking some time today, and happy packing. I know that you were worried about your background because everything was packed away.
Everything's been shipped already.
Yeah, right. Wow, good for you. You shipped it all already? That's nice.
I had to do it in conjunction with Father Matt Berrios, who's also going to Rome to study. So we had to conserve and ship things in one fell swoop.
Nice. Well, I'm sure it'll all get there, and I'm sure that you and Father Matt will also have some safe travels and some good times in Italy to come.
Yeah, I hope.
So, hey, stay in touch over there, number one.
Thanks, Mike. And my best to you and to Mary and your wife, and love to all our Paulist community and supporters, wherever they may be. We need you more than ever in these days. Thank you.
And our prayers go with you. Please take our prayers with you as well.
Excellent.
So this has been 5 Questions with the Paulist Fathers with Father Joe Ciccone this time. And we'll see you all again soon.